Hey guys, Mark Ferrasci, Protect Dog Training. I'm just out getting some lunch in a little Mexican cantina. Figured I'd get myself cooled down a little bit and get some lunch. Thought I'd chime in and give some feedback on that heat exhaustion post I put on the Facebook. You guys might have seen that if you're on my Facebook feed. I basically made a comment in regards to heat exhaustion, that dogs are lost every year because of the problem of heat exhaustion, right? A lot of times it's affected by or it's a part and parcel of our busy lifestyles, right? We head off to work in the morning, we get our dogs set up when we leave, and we come back in the evening or come back whenever we get back home, and the dog is gone because of an accident, right? Things happen. I had a young lady that was getting into her Malinois a few years ago, and I felt so bad for her. It just tore my heart out that she came home and her dog was gone when she got home. And she had been a person that got a Malinois, was just so enthusiastic about working this dog and loving this animal and putting so much energy into learning and loving the craft of training. You know, she was doing so good with the dog. She came home and the dog was gone, and the dog had knocked over its bucket, you know. Things like that happen, you know, so you need to go that extra mile, you know, go that little extra effort to make sure that you're paying attention and that you're setting the dog up properly so that you make sure you don't have any accidents, all right? So what that means is you need to make sure you have shade, and then you need to make sure that you pin the bucket to the side of the cage, right? And if you can, and if you've got larger buckets and some other type of containers for water, don't just leave them one, leave them enough that they can get through the day and splash and keep themselves wet and be able to deal with this hot. Now this heat is something else. When we're getting up into 110, 112, I mean, when it gets like that, it's hot, you know. And you think about it, if you're in a dog, a lot of dogs have double coats, and they're a lot hotter than we would be, right? And they only get heat transfer and getting cooled down through their paws, right? So you saw that little picture that I posted on Facebook. That's Eros, and he's jumping into that thing to get his feet wet. And he does that in my trailer. I'm in the trailer, it's hotter than heck. Don't have air conditioning in the trailer right now. And he's in there splashing in his water bowl, and I kind of let him get away with it. I have a rag off to the side, and I wipe off the floor, and I just kind of deal with it because I understand the dog is hot, you know. He's sticking his pads in there to keep his feet wet, you know. You saw him all the way up to his armpits in that bucket today. I mean, that's a natural instinct for a dog to try to stay cool. It's hot. They've got a double coat. It gets pretty unbearable. Think about if you had that double coat. So be very conscious and very aware of it, and make sure you double check your setups to make sure that you don't have an accident. Right? There was a gentleman I met last weekend. He had a German Shepherd that he obviously loved very much. And he lost the dog. He came home and the dog was gone at the end of the evening. No idea how the dog passed, but a lot of times it may be just heat exhaustion, you know. And he didn't pay for an autopsy. He didn't get into that, but you know, it's not worth losing your animal because you don't step back and really think about what do I need to do to keep this dog cool. Me being a professional, I'm home during the day, and most of my time I don't take that many times that I leave my dogs by themselves during the day. I head out there and I wet them down. And I don't wet their whole body out. I draw a line on the side of their rib cage, right below the shoulder blade. And I get the whole underside of the dog wet, and the whole backside, their neck, all the way down in here, and I draw that line on the bottom. I do not put water on the top of the dog's back, because a lot of these double-coated dogs, that locks in the heat. They can't dissipate that heat as well. And so I always leave the back not wet, okay? So you get the body underneath the armpits, underneath the back legs. That's where those major corpuscles are, those blood transfers to the dog. That's what's going to keep the dog cooled down the best, right? At least, unless you're in a major emergency and your dog is already suffering heat exhaustion, you're trying to cool the dog down, then I may take the dog and put him in a whole bathtub of water and totally cool the dog down and totally make sure that I dissipate that heat and keep him cool. And bring that body temperature down, right? Once that body temperature gets up, it keeps rising, right? You need to make sure that you cool the dog down and then keep them cool, right? So very important. So just think about your animals in this time when it's so hot right now out there, right? So that's it for now. Mark Ferrasci, Protect Dog Training, get a little lunch and Gonna head back home and cool the dogs down after I get a little lunch and get myself cooled down. So keep cool. Thank you. Bye-bye.